Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today we're going to do something I haven't done maybe ever. This entire video is going to be about the many wild and crazy conspiracy theories from the XRP community and crypto over the last 7 or so years, and there are many of them. Some of them I believe are in the midst of coming true, but I'm not going to really weigh in on whether they're right or they're wrong. I'm just going to show you what they are today. You'll find it interesting, and then I'm going to get into some of them that I would rather not cover out here in the Patreon. And you can join the Patreon at daixrp.com. You can join through YouTube by clicking join below any of these videos, or you can join through X by hitting subscribe. But first, we're going to do what we do on Saturdays, which is to dream a little. Our friends at Gulf of America XRP.com, that's where you go if you would like to sign up for their free email newsletter. Here it is. You just enter your name and email, and then every Friday from then on, they send you oceanfront, mostly oceanfront properties down in the Gulf of America. And if you are interested in looking at real estate down there now, you can just call 850-890-8884 today. And again, that's Gulf of America XRP.com. Today, I'm going to show you this property. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, $610,000 oceanfront condo. So let's look at it. Here we go. This is called Edgewater. I went there as a kid. This is in Panama City Beach, Florida. There's an overview. Edgewater has a pretty good infrastructure. They got the pools, and they've got like little tiki bar down there. I think there's a picture of it over here. So yeah, but it's that this one's, and I think it is a good, don't quote me, but I think it's a good rental area too. This is a ground floor unit you're looking at right here. So you walk right out, I guess. You're looking right at the beach. So let's see what it looks like here on the inside. We'll just flip through a little bit. It's like a long hallway. This might be looks like it's a corner unit. I think corner units are typically good units. That's a weird looking bed. But anyway, nice condo. I think this is probably a good rental type condo. Now, let's get on to the wild and crazy XRP conspiracy theories, starting with the first one. The XRP pre-allocation theory suggests Ripple's escrow 35 to 40 billion tokens is pre-allocated to institutions, banks, or governments via private agreements, limiting Ripple's control despite public escrow balances. Escrow mechanism, they locked 55 billion in 2017, releasing 1 billion monthly, with unused tokens relocked to ensure transparency. Pre-allocation agreements alleged deals with 300 plus financial, well, I don't know if anybody said it's with 300 plus, but we do know there's 1,700 contracts that were undisclosed from the lawsuit, from the SEC lawsuit. We also know that Greg Kidd had an option contract on 1 billion XRP, and we know that R3 had an option contract, so it stands to reason that they weren't the only two entities or people who wanted an option contract on XRP. So I lean in the direction on this one of believing there are a good many pre-allocated contracts. So let's move on to the next one. The next one, this is one of the more popular theories that's gone on in the last 7 years, the Shane Ellis theory. Speculative concept suggests the price of XRP could experience a sudden massive spike to a very high value, such as $500 or more, due to a combination of market mechanics and institutional demand. This theory gained attention in the cryptocurrency space. 1, liquidity dynamics. According to the theory, the price of XRP is tied to its circulating supply, but rather to the amount of liquidity required for institutional transactions. If large financial institutions begin using XRP for cross-border payments, require higher value transactions, price could rise sharply to accommodate their liquidity needs. Low book order depth. So I think that's what they're trying to say here. Theory claims that if a single buyer or group of buyers places significant buy orders on the exchanges with low order book depth, limited by sell orders, the price could skyrocket in a very short time. This is based on the assumption that exchanges would not be able to meet the sudden demand at current price levels, forcing the higher price. Now, folks, I do believe this theory for two reasons. The supply issue with all these ETFs and with the treasury companies coming about, combined with what we saw a week ago with the flash crash. If you can have a flash crash, you can have a flash upward movement because of how young the market is right now. You could easily have that. I do believe this theory. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the Matthew Mellon theory, and this is kind of been one of my theories for a while. Billionaire banking heir and cryptocurrency investor Matthew Mellon dies in rehab at 54. He had, let's see if it says, he was an early investor in XRP. Mellon made his fortune in crypto, turning $2 million investment in XRP into $1 billion. I have two theories on Matthew Mellon. One, the only reason he was involved from the beginning is because BNY, they corrected me the other day. It's not BNY Mellon now, it's just BNY. But I believe BNY was connected to Ripple from the early days. And I think this guy was privy to that information, and that's why he had XRP. I think that a lot of this stuff was probably planned way, way, way back. My other theory, because they floated the idea that he had all these hard wallets and it's lost forever. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute, because they said he had hard wallets that he had placed in safety deposit boxes or hidden all around the world. Anybody that's being that conscientious is not just not leaving a trail for anybody to find their 24 words. Okay, they got a plan. So there's the Matthew Mellon theory. Then the XRP as a world reserve digital currency theory. This is what Miguel Valles said. We remain back in 2008, maybe 17, 18. We remain more committed than ever to the simple goal of making XRP the world's reserve digital currency. I do believe it's going to be a world reserve digital currency. I don't know if it will be the digital currency. But this was not just said by him. Brad Garlinghouse is on video saying that the original people who created the XRP ledger had that vision. It's been said many times. Then there is this. This is the XRP confiscation theory. That's Molly Elmore.
All right, a couple of things. One, Gary Gensler has done us a service by having those MIT courses publicly available. Yeah. And in one of those courses, he said that if you want to move in to the banking world, the legacy banking system, the monopoly, you got to pay up in the mob. You've got to, pay the mob, Don, of the other family if you want to enter into a new market. And so this is what the fine looks like to me, is they've conceded that XRP is going to be used, and they're like, right, we want our kickback, right, in an organized crime. Now, this will be the interesting thing that people haven't really discussed. All right, so I don't think Ripple's going to have to pay $2 billion because they have very good lawyers that will hopefully negotiate on their behalf. Let's even say they had to pay $1 billion fine.
Right.
What do you think they're going to pay that fine in?
XRP.
Right. So the cartel's we wanted 50% of the XRP in the beginning. If you had just given us half we asked, then we wouldn't have given you a hard time. But you didn't really want to be controlled by the mob, so you said no. Wow. But now at the end of it, we're still going to take our cut if you would like us to get out of the way and let you do your thing.
And if Ripple is nervous about the potential outcome of the case, I can even see them agreeing to pay a percentage of any sales of the escrowed XRP, or if you want to get really deep state thinking, Ripple could even agree to confiscation of a certain amount of the escrowed XRP to the state. Now,
okay, so this, of course, didn't happen this way. I do believe that was what this was about more than anything, is getting their hands on some of that escrow. Who knows? Now, how could you do wild and crazy theories without including the bearable guy? Now, I'm not one of the people that's covered bearable guy a lot, but I've seen all of it. This theory is basically, I mean, if I'm summarizing it, I would say the theory in the XRP community army, whatever you want to call it, has, by some, not all, is that somebody at Ripple who can't come out and directly talk about somebody connected to Ripple or somebody at Ripple who can't come out and directly talk about how big what's in play is, came along, and somebody like David Schwartz or somebody created these cartoons for kicks, to send a message, to let everybody know, maybe to keep the XRP community engaged and keep following everything. Regardless, it's been pretty entertaining. And then Brad Garlinghouse, well, I put that in the wrong place. I thought I had Brad Garlinghouse there. I needed to put this here and this. There it is. Brad Garlinghouse kind of fed into this theory by he maintains 589 followers, and the 589, that's another theory, came from a bearable guy. This image right here, I believe, is where it originated. And then that was linked to the 589 COMEX rule. And so this has all been pretty interesting part of the whole journey. Here's another theory, is that from ETHgate, which is that the plan by the SEC was to create a monopoly for Bitcoin and Ethereum and slam the door on XRP and all the other digital assets so that you would have Bitcoin, and then any tokens built would be built on Ethereum.
It could be, just so you know. I mean, I'm just surmising off the top of my head, because I've seen regulation in action, particularly in nascent industries, which crypto and blockchain is, that they literally wanted to put the lid on the expansion of this industry. There were two major
and create a monopoly for Bitcoin and Ethereum
players out there, and they really don't want anything more. And then, coincidentally, they all go into private practice. And guess what they do? Well, when lawyers go into private practice, when people leave the Justice Department, they go represent bad guys in front of the Justice Department.
All right. And then you've seen the $10,000 XRP. That's almost a meme now. I believe that part of where that really originated was this article. XRP was designed for $10,000 by Mark Phillips, who I've met. Very nice guy. I met him, I think, at a baseball game in Washington, D.C. I think that's where I met him. Washington Nationals game. But I think all this $10,000 XRP, and I don't necessarily disagree with him that that's possible in the long, long haul, but that's where I think it originated. We'll give you one more and then we'll go. Now, this is probably the most controversial theory that there ever was, and that is the buyback theory from Jimmy Valley. This guy caught all kinds of hell over this one. So I'll play this one and then we'll go into the group, and I've got many more theories to go over in there.
Sheet before, right? And it's these digital assets. And you got the one that's basically the most liquid asset that's ever can turn anything of value into anything else of value anywhere else in the world. 3 to 5 seconds. Why not take that one and write that up? And yes, are you going to make a handful of people phenomenally wealthy, Rockefeller type wealthy? Yeah, you're going to end up doing that. But the people that you're going to end up doing that for are the very people who basically did their homework and figured it out. I mean, shouldn't they be rewarded? And not only that, but at this time, those people have held, this is the Shawshank, yeah. They've held it now for, 16 months? We're in this lawsuit. I think yesterday was 562 days. So they have literally walked through hell. They have walked through the valley of the shadow of death.
We have walked through hell, Jimmy.
Correct. So, and our, brothers and sisters in the XRP.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, there are damages, right? There are damages that have been incurred. There was $15 billion that came out of the marketplace on the day the lawsuit was filed. Extrapolate that over 562 days. That's $1 trillion number right there. If you start looking at its real intended use case and starting to price a damages model based on that, it's more in line with kind of what we put forth in the deal. It's going to be 25,000, 37.5, something maybe even higher now, right? So it's just kind of basic accounting. Like, just take the new asset, write it up, and you don't have to buy it all. You just got to have one material transaction from the retail, right? You don't want the retail to have it anyway. Buy it back from them, imply the value to the whole rest of the XRP that sits on the ledger by doing this one material transaction, and all of your debt has just been re-equitized.
All right, we're going to go into the group, and I've got more theories and some of the theories I don't like to talk about out here. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.